Hi everybody and welcome back to ProSportFisher.com. I'm Morten and today it's a small fly tying tutorial. This is a very easy fly. You can vary this fly indefinitely to match what kind of the year that you're using it on. But as it is November now, I'll be using it in one of my favorite cold water patterns, or themes, which is pink and white. It's a very easy fly. It doesn't take much more than 7-8 minutes to tie. And especially if you're fishing lighter fly rods, this is a very good fly to have in your arsenal. So let's start tying, and I'll talk to you about what I'm doing along the way, and hopefully you can find some inspiration in it. Okay, so let's start tying. The hook that we'll be using today is the SA274 curved salt. This is a brand new hook that has come out just a few days ago. And the good thing about this compared to the old version of the Gammarus from Ahrex hooks is that this has gotten the very durable coating. The coating is super important when you're fishing in the salt water. And this is the strongest there is. They call it the A-steel. They call it the A-steel finish, and it is just the best surface finish you can get. So we'll be using this, and this is a size 4. Okay, so we start off by just putting a nice layer of tightly wrapped GSP 50 denier. And we go to where it's going downwards in about 45 degrees. Let's curve that out a little bit. Like this. So what we're going to do now is that, first of all, we will be tying in this. This is the Gammarus shell in a size large, pink. Now the Gammarus shells is pre-printed, soft vinyl, very stretchable, very durable, easy to use. And you tie this in with the eyes pointing backwards. Just tie that on top here, just like this, secure it. Now what we want to do now is that we want to make a dubbing loop. And here it is super important that you go on the inside when you make the dubbing loop. So what you go is you take the hooks and you go on the inside, and then you go on the inside here as well. Now, I know that we're going to need approximately 15 centimeters because we don't want to over bulk the loop. Just gonna push this forward, and then we're gonna park this loop. Now what we need is a rib. This is 0.20 millimeter monofilament, just spooled. I think this is a Vivus product. I use ribbing a lot, monofilament ribbing a lot, so I just have it on a spool instead of a large diameter spool, and we run that underneath and all the way to the back. And we're going to park this as well. So we're just going to secure it. Go forward again. And then cut off the snippet. So now this is going to go all the way to here. Let's straighten up the hook a little bit, like this. Then we're going to take the dubbing loop and we're going to mount this on the inside. Now you see the two threads are completely aligned so that anything that you put in there, you will have great control over it. So I take my dubbing. This is just marble fox cut into 1-inch pieces and mixed up with a little bit of angel hair in pearl green. Now we're going to work this so that there isn't any bulks and it's a uniform mass. Just going to mix that up a little bit. Now what I like to do is when I want a double taper, I put it in as a round piece and then I pull the ends so that it will taper. And this means that when I spin it, it will be very thin, thick in the middle and thin in the end. So it just makes it a lot easier to control the taper. So what we do is we put it in, then we're going to pull, make it thin at the other end, like this, and place it in the middle, and then spin it. Now you want some body at the center of the Gammarus fly. So as you can see here, it's thin, 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 and then a relatively medium thickness in the middle. So as we pour some Velcro love onto it, you see that the stem is getting slimmer, which is good. Just like this. And now we're going to take this forward. So I'm going to start by turning this in a fairly open manner. Just make sure that not a ton of fibers get caught underneath the turn. A little bit doesn't matter, but. And then you just go forward. Ooh. Just like this. And then we're at the end. Secure it and cut off the remain. So time for a little Velcro love. We want to have those fibers to come out. Now what I like to do is I want to cut the back so that it is clean on top. So I'm going to take my scissor, just trim it close, trim it a little bit down the sides. Like this. Now you can see you have an excess amount of fibers coming out the bottom, but that doesn't really matter because you just pull your mono back, remove the thread from the danger zone, so to speak, and then I cut it so that you hit in the arch of the hook. Now we're ready. We just take our shell, and as you can see, as I pull it, it will, due to the shape of the shell, it will crawl down the sides, which is good. This is the way it was supposed to be. This is the way it was designed. So I take this and I lug it in just by 1 or 2 turns because we will guide it in with the rib, and sometimes you need to open up the wraps to get everything lined up. And now I come in with the rib. One time under, and then we are up the body. And I usually place my mono wraps in the segmentation of the Gammarus. As you can see, it It crawls down the sides quite nice. When I come here, I open up and I pull a little bit just to make sure that it will stay equally on both sides. Sometimes you wish you had a third hand, and here at the end I just pull slightly, and now the shell is perfectly aligned, just like this. Lock it in with the tying thread, and give it some securing wraps. Cut off the mono, cut off the snippet, and we're pretty much more or less done. Now what we want to do is we want to trim the legs. It's important that you don't make the legs too long, because otherwise it will flip on its back anyway, but it doesn't, how can you say, decimate the catchability of the fly. But what I want to do is I want to, here at the front, I like to cut it quite tight. Like this. Bring it back in focus. Now it's time for a little bit of UV resin, just to make sure that it is going to get bomb-proof and be durable enough for many fish. So the way I do this, I don't want to over bulk it with resin. So I use a small brush. This is the new Mid-Flex from Pro Sport Fisher. This is not quite as thin as the Thin Flex, but and it allows you to put on some resin without it running into the softer materials. As you can see, it stays quite nicely on top. And then I'm just going to take this and just make sure that the shell has a thin layer. This really makes a difference when it comes to the durability. Now the first layer is just a thin layer, just to get the adhesion and how can you say, make sure that it's not running into the materials. Like this. And then a second layer to give that even gloss. And to make this, I just turn it upside down. Like this. And then in the sapping sequence, oh, there's an air bubble. Boom, then it's gone. Five, 6 seconds with the torch, that's all you need. Then you have 100% curing. And yeah, here is your winter Gammarus. It's very easy and fast to tie. This is a must-have in the box, especially if you're fishing lighter tackle in the wintertime. This is a very good one to have in your box. So thank you for joining me in this quick tutorial, and hopefully you will sign up and subscribe and hit the bell and all that other good stuff. So thank you for watching.